Today we are going to make a voltage clamped CV mixer using a Reckless Experimentation Audio Proto 1 Eurorack breadboard module. Useful for taking your CV generator of choice, mixing it with a module with a large output voltage range, and connecting that to a module with a limited voltage input range. The parts list and circuit schematic is in the description below. First, let's look at the circuit schematic and see what's going on. The CV signal comes in here. The first op-amp is a unity gain follower, removes the effects of any input impedance. The mixed signal comes in here. It is divided in half by the resistor ladder formed by R1 and the potentiometer, as both are 100 kiloohms. Then the center tap of the pot is connected to another unity gain follower. The next stage is a non-inverting summing amplifier. It combines the CV and mix inputs. More signals can be added through additional 100 kiloohm resistors tied to the positive input if you want. Today's circuit will only mix together two signals. Now on to the voltage. These circuits prevent the output voltage of this module from exceeding the recommended input voltage of downstream modules, 0 to 5 volts in today's case. The first clamp prevents the output voltage from dropping below ground. The second clamp uses a 5.1 volt zener diode to generate a reference voltage. The output voltage is clamped to a maximum of this voltage. The last part of the circuit is another unity gain follower, as the clamp circuits have a very high output impedance. Now let's look at how we build this circuit on the breadboard module. Step 1. Remove the 3 screws and separate the front plate to gain easier access to the breadboard. 2. Place 10 microfarad capacitors into the top of the breadboard and under the polarity. The negative rail is on the left side of the board and the positive rail on the right. Ground is available on both sides. Then place the chips on the breadboard. The dot on the chips denotes 1 and should be on the left side. Leave some room between the chips for easier wiring. Next, add the power and ground connections. All 3 chips are the same. Positive to pin 8 and negative to pin 4. Ground to pin 5 on the second chip only. The 3 unity gain followers are next. Add jumps between the output and negative input of both op-amps on the first chip and the left op-amp on the third chip. Now the outputs of the 2 op-amps on the first chip need to be attached to the positive input of the op-amp on the left side of the second chip through 100K resistors. Add a jumper to an empty bus to make wiring easier. The feedback of the summing amplifier circuit is next. 100K resistors connect the output to the negative input and the negative input to ground. Also add a 100K resistor from the output on the left op-amp to the negative input of the right op-amp on this chip. Next are the 2 small signal diodes that form the clamp circuits. The band on the diode denotes the direction it faces, away from the output of the first clamp circuit and towards the output on the second. Now place the 5.1 zener diode between the positive input and ground and a 4.7K resistor from the positive rail to the positive input. Then place a jumper between the negative input on the second voltage clamp and the positive input on the final unity gain follower. Also add a 10K resistor between the negative input of the 2 clamp circuits. The final part on this breadboard is a 100K resistor between two empty buses near the top of the board. Now we can bring the front plate back in. I recommend labeling the connections with masking tape. Start by connecting the black wire of the potentiometer to ground, the bottom red wire to the 100K resistor on the open bus, and the middle red wire to pin 3 on the first chip. Then connect the black wire of the first jack to ground and the red wire to the other side of the 100K resistor. Now the second jack to ground and to pin 5 on the first chip. And the third jack, connect the black wire to ground and the red wire to pin 1 on the third chip. Now reattach the front plate with the 3 screws. Connect the unused jacks to an empty bus and fold the wires flat. Now attach the power cable. Red strap on the cable to the red paint on the breadboard. Initial testing with a current limiting power supply is recommended. Mount in your enclosure, and we can see what it can do. Connect up the inputs and outputs. I'm using a Dolphinr A-147 for my modulation voltage, a Q Nexus to provide the CV and gate control, and a YM3812V2 to generate the sound. First, let's hear some notes with the mix turned all the way down. Now let's have some fun.